genel izleyici kitlesi için uygundur.
Saat Farkı'ndan merhabalar. Bu hafta çok özel bir konuğumuz var. Mısır Turizm ve Eski Eserler Bakanı Sharif Fathy bizlerle. Kendisi şu anda İstanbul'da Turizm Forumu için geldi. Türkiye, Mısır arasındaki özellikle turizm alanındaki işbirliğini, bundan sonra atılabilecek adımları ve tabii ki Mısır'ı konuşacağız. Mısır'ın turizm potansiyelini konuşacağız. Yeni açılacak müzeyi konuşacağız. Pek çok başlığı konuşacağız. Kendisiyle Your Excellency Mr. Sharif Fathy. Ahlan ve sahlen fi İstanbul. Welcome to
Ahlan ve
İstanbul.
sahlen. Thank you very much.
Hoş geldiniz. And this is Turkish.
Hoş bulduk.
Hoş bulduk. Thank you. Çok teşekkür ederim. Welcome to Istanbul. How many times you have come before to Istanbul?
Oh, many times.
But as a tourist, not as a minister.
As a tourist, at least 6 or 7 times.
6 or 7 times.
Yeah, and I lived here for 3 years between the
You
year
lived here?
2000 and 2003.
Okay. Yeah. So how was your days in Istanbul
I
at that
was
time?
extremely happy, and actually you should ask my family because they enjoyed it very much here.
Really?
Yeah.
What did they enjoy the most?
Actually, the shopping.
Okay.
You know how it works here, and
Yes.
actually the ability to tour around. And they had also an international school that was extremely close to our compound where we lived.
Okay.
So it was convenient from all aspects. I was the only one suffering because I used to commute a lot to
Oh,
Atatürk
really?
Airport. So
Okay.
imagine from Ulus to the Atatürk and traveling all the time. So
Mr.
I used
Minister,
to.
Cairo traffic or Istanbul traffic? Which one is worse?
Currently, Cairo has improved a lot. By the way.
Really?
Yeah. With the construction of huge constructions of ring roads and bridges and tunnels here and there, it has improved a lot. But we both enjoy like cosmopolitan cities.
Heavy
yes,
traffic, let's say.
yeah,
We do not
yeah.
enjoy that traffic, but thanks God, at least metros.
By the way, it's not
metros.
only Turkey and it's not only Cairo and Istanbul. Huh?
Right.
I mean, it's all over the world,
Yeah.
all over. I mean, everywhere. Go to many capitals. I don't want to name any capital,
True.
but you spend more in traffic than even our own part of the world.
I was going to ask in the end, but please tell me now of your favorite top touristic spots in Istanbul, please.
I like the old city. I'm fond of history in general. So I like just walking around and sitting on a cafe, drinking tea, talking to people. I love this atmosphere. And of course, the Bosphorus cruise.
Okay, very nice. Mr. Minister, you came to Istanbul today for a conference, for a tourism event, actually, one of the largest tourism events. So let's talk about tourism, Egypt's tourism. Of course, Turkey and Egypt, you also mentioned it during your speech. They are competitors, but in a nice way, let's say. What are the areas for cooperation between Turkey and Egypt? And also, could you give us some numbers, how many tourists they visited
We
you
visit Egypt, yes.
last year in 2024, and the areas of cooperation between the two countries that might be seen and may be seen competitors?
Okay. Let me just correct a little bit the purpose of my visit, because I was here in Ankara yesterday to do 2 things. Number 1, to receive around 150, 53 artifacts, small ones, that has been confiscated from a smuggler by the Turkish government, and the Turkish government had contacted us and offered to return it to us. So that was an extremely civilized and appreciated gesture from the Turkish government. And I went there and I met His Excellency, the Minister of Tourism and Culture. We received the artifacts yesterday, and in addition, we signed an umbrella agreement, a memorandum of understanding between Turkey and Egypt. This agreement, I call it umbrella agreement because it covers many broad aspects of cooperation. My objective, and I mentioned that clearly to the minister yesterday and his team, is to see joint promotional activities between the two countries. And my objective is to let the private sector explore if there can be joint trips, joint tours that can be organized. They visit parts of Turkey and then they go and visit some parts of Cairo and these kind of stuff. It's not for me to decide, it's the tour operators, the private sector is to decide on this kind of cooperation. But from our side, we are going to facilitate for the Turkish government and the Turkish private sector to promote Turkey in Egypt. And also they are going to do the same from their side here. I would love to see the traffic between Turkey and Egypt increasing dramatically compared to what we have today, because we're complementary in many areas. I think Turkish people are, and they just need more awareness about what Egypt can offer them as a vacation alternatives or vacation attractions. And also Egyptians need to know more about Turkey, about Turkey than Istanbul and Antalya, because that might be of an interest to them. I don't know if you remember the numbers, but from Egypt we had around 250,000 visitors visiting Turkey, and from Turkey we received 230 or 235,000 tourists. With the increase of flights now by Air Cairo and Egypt Air and some other private airlines from Turkey, I believe these numbers can be easily doubled.
Mr. Minister, by the way, you also have a long history in aviation.
That's right.
3 decades of
That's right.
experience in aviation. How is this
right.
contributing to your ministry as a tourism
It's sometimes
minister?
painful because I cannot blame my aviation guys for certain things, but I
You
think
will
it's
have more
extremely
cooperation
complementary.
between Turkey and Egypt
Yes.
in this field?
Yes, we have. I'm actually, I will immediately visit Turkish Airlines CEO. The moment I finish from here, I'm going to Turkish Airlines headquarters to meet the CEO. It's great to catch up with the airlines, because connectivity is extremely important. We need to have airline connectivities in order to promote tourism. Without connectivity, all our efforts are not going to yield in something that is tangible or can be felt by people. So we need to encourage airlines, or more airlines, to connect our countries together.
Could you give, by the way, us some information for our audience about the visa procedures currently?
It can be obtained upon arrival for Turkish citizens.
Because in the past it was different, but now if you go to the airport and you get it very easily at the gate.
Yes.
In the past it was different.
Yes, the visa is very much easy nowadays for Turkish citizens, and I wish that visa also for Egyptians can improve a little bit, because there were restrictions imposed recently. I always understand, being a minister and I work for the government, that there are valid reasons behind every decision. However, it's our job to keep improving these kind of facilities in order to attract more traffic between the two countries.
Mr. Minister, I also want to ask you, because political tensions and crises also have an impact, of course, on tourism as well. It happens all the time. And Turkey and Egypt had bitter relations in the past following the Arab Spring, but now we have established diplomatic relations again. How was, in general, the impact of the geopolitical tensions in the region on Egypt's tourism? What was the impact? And still we have, unfortunately, some tensions again in the region, which is right next to your door, actually. Unfortunately, Israel's brutal attacks on Gaza. And now Trump has some crazy ideas about, Palestinians. He wants to expel them to your country as well, to Jordan. How all these geopolitical tensions, crises, have an impact on tourism, on your country?
Good question. And I will start from what you just said. You said next door, so it's not in our house. So it's next door, and we are a strong country, an independent country. We have our own borders, and our borders are very well protected. And life in Egypt is business as usual. And this is what need to be promoted and told to people around the world, that you cannot just look at the Middle East as one country. The Middle East is consisting of many countries, and there might be tension in parts of it, but other parts are business as usual. Let me just phrase it this way: life as usual, or people are still going in and out. And in my opinion, tourism promotion shouldn't be affected by any kind of tension or any kind of political impact. Why? Because it's an industry. There are people counting on this industry to make money, to feed their children, to be able to sustain their living. So tourism is an industry that needs to be kept in the picture, that has to be promoted all the time, and it has to be isolated in a way or another from the political tensions left, right, and center. I know it's not easy as I say it, but it's my belief, and I've seen this happening, and we will keep doing this because there are people living on their income or on the income coming from tourism. We cannot ask them to starve because there is another or there is a problem somewhere close to your borders.
Did you feel the impact by numbers? Can you give us?
By numbers,
following
yes.
after the Arab Spring and also the recent tension also.
We expected double-digit growth this year. So the forecast by my former colleagues was to grow by above 10%, but we managed to grow only by 6%, which is fine for us, great so far, because prices has increased, spending has increased by tourists, but we aim to recover, and with more hotels in the picture, and we're building more hotels, attracting investments for more hotels, I believe we can go back within the coming 2 to 3 years to double-digit growth again.
Mr. Minister, something interesting I saw while making some research on tourism. Morocco has surpassed Egypt as Africa's top tourist destination for the first time, with more than 17 million people visiting in 2024. What would you say about this? Because this is the first time happening, and how will your response be in the future?
Actually, I'm very happy for them because they are not competitors to us. The type of tourists go there is different than ours. And I congratulate them. I wish them all the best.
Why do you think this is the case, by the way? Is it their extra success
geography,
or something?
Geography, the type of tourism they have there, what we offer versus what they offer in terms of touristic attractions and touristic experience for tourism. We're different. We're not directly competing with each other. Also, you always have to keep in mind the distance between Europe and certain European countries and your country, and the connectivity, the number of flights. And I am personally not in favor of comparing absolute numbers of countries to each other, because the devil is in details, or certain details have to be looked at, because when you break down numbers, you get many surprises. So for me, the only reaction I would say, congratulations. It's a country that we consider as, how do you call it, a brother, Moroccans are brothers to Egyptians, and it's an Arab country which we respect and love very much. And I would love to see them attracting 25 million and even more in the future. But to compare the numbers, they need to break it down to more detailed.
You're not going to go into those details.
I don't know them, by the way. I don't know them. But there are learning lessons. So if you tell me what did you learn from the experience of XYZ country, I will tell you 1 or 2 things. You see my point?
Yes.
So I can learn from countries, but I cannot compare the whole, how do you call it, situation of a country to another.
Mr. Minister, thank you very much. Also, with the Grand Egyptian Museum opening jam, let's wrap it up with this. When is the grand opening? Can you tell us? And what will be the contribution of this huge project? It has been postponed so many times in the past, but this time I think it will be open. I visited last November, but it was partially open.
Partially open, yes.
Soon, I guess, it will be opened. Can you tell us the date, if it's certain yet?
It will be opened slightly after the first half of this year. So during the second half of this year. During the second half of this year.
Okay.
And the reason it has been delayed was ambitious, which is something that I questioned myself when I came to office. Every time we were close to opening the Grand Museum, we find an improvement to make. So we reinvest money and we make it better than before. If you ask me, shouldn't we have opened it partially before and do these improvements? I don't know. I don't know, really. Because again, you cannot just compare and make judgments like this. But what I have seen is that we were close to finishing the museum, the first part of the museum, then we decided to make it larger. And then there was another decision to add the boats museum. And the boats museum was a remarkable, they call it plan to move these two pieces of wood from behind the pyramids to the museum and then build a museum on top of it. And also we had some enhancement in the restoration center. So ambition and making it better, bigger, offering better experience for the customer was behind the delays in opening the museum. In addition, of course, to availing the funding to complete the project, because it's a huge project that costs a lot of money.
And what do you expect about the contribution to the tourism industry in Egypt in general?
We haven't calculated the contribution to the industry in terms of numbers, but I have to tell you that we're currently receiving 5,000 visitors per day, and it's partly open so far. So we're also learning from this by measuring the peak hours and also the crowd management, they call it like this, crowd management and slots management, to see what time of the day it's going to be congested and when do we have to restrict the flow, or when we need to offer maybe promotional how do you call it, prices or discounts on the price to attract people to come maybe later in the evening. These sort of things. We are measuring these things now.
Inshallah, I will come for the grand opening.
Please do that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister Sharif Fathy. Şükran cezilen.
My pleasure.
Evet, Saat Farkı'nda Mısır Turizm ve Eski Eserler Bakanı Sharif Fathy'yi ağırladık. İstanbul'da kendisi Ankara'daki görüşmelerinin temaslarının ardından İstanbul'daki turizm fuarı Emet için buraya geldi. Kendisiyle özel bir röportaj gerçekleştirdik. Tekrar görüşünceye dek hoşça kalın.